I was driving alone late at night on a desolate highway. The road was shrouded in darkness, and the only source of light came from my car's headlights. I had heard stories about this stretch of highway being haunted, but I didn't pay much attention to them. As I continued down the road, I began to feel an eerie sensation, like I was being watched. My heart started pounding, and I couldn't shake off the feeling of dread. Suddenly, my car's radio began to act strangely. The station kept changing on its own, and I could hear whispers coming through the speakers. I tried to stay calm and decided to ignore the strange occurrences. But as I drove further, I saw a figure standing on the side of the road. It was a woman dressed in old-fashioned clothes, and she appeared to be in distress. Feeling concerned, I slowed down to offer help. As I got closer, the woman's face turned pale, and her eyes glowed with an unnatural light. A chill ran down my spine, and I quickly looked away, terrified by what I had just witnessed. I stepped on the gas, trying to escape from the haunting figure. To my horror, the woman started to chase my car, her long hair flowing in the wind, as if she was floating. Panic took over, and I drove faster, desperate to get away from her. But no matter how fast I went, she was right behind me, always catching up. The radio continued to play eerie music, and the whispers grew louder, sending shivers down my spine. My mind raced, and I couldn't think straight. It felt like I was trapped in a nightmare. Finally, I saw a faint glimmer of light in the distance. A gas station. I drove towards it, praying for safety. As I pulled into the station, the haunting figure vanished into thin air. The radio returned to normal, and the atmosphere became calm again. I was shaken to the core, and the gas station attendant could tell that something was wrong. I told him what had happened, and he nodded, saying he had heard similar stories from other travelers on this highway. To this day, I don't know who or what that haunting figure was, but that experience has forever left me scarred. I'll never forget that night, and I now believe that there are things beyond our understanding that lurk in the darkness of that haunted highway. Late one night, my friends and I decided to take a road trip along an infamous haunted highway. As we drove through the desolate stretch of road, strange occurrences began. The radio started flickering, and we heard eerie whispers coming through the speakers. Goosebumps covered our arms as we felt an icy presence in the car. Ignoring the uneasy feeling, we pressed on, but soon the headlights began to flicker. Suddenly, we saw a shadowy figure dart across the road, causing us to slam on the brakes. There was nobody there, but an overwhelming feeling of dread filled the air. Nervously, we continued driving, and that's when we noticed an old, abandoned building in the distance. Its broken windows seemed to watch us as we passed by. Unexplainable noises echoed from inside, making our hearts race. As we reached the darkest part of the highway, the car stalled. We were stranded, surrounded by an eerie silence. Suddenly, the temperature plummeted, and our breaths formed misty clouds. Panic set in as we heard unsettling laughter coming from the woods nearby. In a desperate attempt to escape, we decided to walk to the nearest town. Every step felt heavy, and the woods seemed to close in around us. We saw strange shadows darting between trees, and chilling whispers filled the air. Finally, we stumbled upon a lone gas station. The attendant looked at us with concern, explaining that the haunted highway had a dark history of unexplained disappearances and paranormal encounters. We stayed the night in the town, too terrified to venture back to the highway. To this day, we can't explain what happened that night, but it forever remains etched in our memories as the most harrowing and supernatural experience we've ever had. I was driving alone late one stormy night on a desolate highway known for its eerie legends. As I passed a crumbling, abandoned mansion, my car suddenly stalled, and all the lights went out. Feeling a chill down my spine, I noticed a faint figure in my rearview mirror. Terrified, I tried starting the car, but it wouldn't budge. Out of nowhere, I heard ghostly whispers echoing around me, and the figure appeared closer, now illuminated by a flickering street lamp. Panic surged through me as I saw the hollow eyes and tattered clothes of what seemed like a ghostly hitchhiker. I frantically dialed for help, but my phone had no signal. Desperate, I locked my doors, praying for someone to pass by. But the highway remained eerily silent. The ghostly hitchhiker was now right outside my window, tapping the glass with a bony finger. I closed my eyes, bracing for the worst, but then, miraculously, the car roared back to life. I sped away as fast as I could, leaving the haunting highway behind me. To this day, I can't forget the terror of that night or the chilling encounter with the ghostly hitchhiker on that haunted highway. Late on a moonless night, my friends and I embarked on a daring drive down an infamous haunted highway. The road was enveloped by dense woods, and legends spoke of eerie apparitions and vanishing cars. As we drove along, an unsettling feeling crept over us. The darkness seemed to seep into the car, and our headlights struggled to penetrate the thick fog. Suddenly, we heard a chilling whisper on the wind, and our car's radio emitted spine-tingling static. A faint figure appeared in the distance, standing in the middle of the road. As we approached, the figure grew clearer, and we could see a pale woman dressed in tattered clothing. Our hearts pounded as we tried to make sense of what we were witnessing. With trembling hands, we decided to stop and ask if she needed help. But as we rolled down the window, the temperature plummeted, and her haunting gaze sent shivers down our spines. Her eyes were empty, void of any emotion, and she let out a bone-chilling scream. Terrified, we sped away, but our car felt sluggish, as if some invisible force was pulling us back. The radio blared with unsettling laughter, and our headlights flickered erratically. Panic set in as we realized we were trapped in this sinister encounter. As we struggled to escape, strange shadows danced on the roadside, and eerie moans echoed around us. It felt like the very fabric of reality was unraveling. In desperation, we finally managed to break free, and the road seemed to return to normal as we left the haunted highway behind. To this day, we cannot explain what we witnessed that night, but we know that the haunted highway holds an inexplicable darkness. It's a journey we'll never forget, and it still sends chills down our spines whenever we share our real-life horror story with others. Certainly. Here's a spooky story told by a real person about a haunted highway experience. I had always heard rumors about the haunted highway that ran through the outskirts of my small town. People spoke of strange sightings, eerie sounds, and unexplained occurrences that took place along that stretch of road. But being the skeptic that I am, I never gave much thought to those tales until that one fateful night. It was a moonless evening, and I found myself driving alone along that very highway. The darkness seemed to swallow everything around me, and a thick fog hung low, reducing visibility to mere feet ahead. As I navigated through the winding roads, a sense of unease settled over me. The silence was deafening, broken only by the distant howl of the wind. Suddenly, my headlights caught a glimpse of something in the distance. A figure, draped in tattered clothing, stood motionless on the side of the road. Goosebumps prickled on my skin as I cautiously approached. Ignoring my instincts to flee, I rolled down my window and called out, asking if they needed help. The figure remained eerily silent, their face hidden beneath a tattered hood. A chilling breeze swept through the air, making the hairs on the back of my neck stand on end. I could feel a presence lingering, an invisible force surrounding me. It felt as if an icy hand grasped at my heart. As I stared into the darkness, I caught a glimpse of a sad, hollow-eyed stare from beneath the hood. The figure, barely visible in the dim light, slowly began to move towards my car. Panic gripped me, and I frantically slammed my foot on the accelerator, desperately trying to escape. But it was too late. The figure vanished from my sight, disappearing into thin air as I sped away. My heart pounded in my chest as I glanced at the rearview mirror, half expecting to see it still following me. To my relief, there was nothing but the misty road winding through the night. Days passed, but the encounter haunted my thoughts. I couldn't shake off the feeling of being watched, the weight of that chilling encounter on the haunted highway. So, curiosity and fear compelled me to delve deeper into the local legends. I discovered tales of a tragic accident that occurred years ago on that very highway. A family, driving home one stormy night, met with a horrific fate when their car veered off the road, plunging into the darkness below. The family perished, their souls forever bound to that cursed stretch of highway. As I dug deeper, I stumbled upon more accounts of sightings, each retelling chilling encounters with the apparitions that haunted the highway. It became clear that I wasn't the only one who had experienced the supernatural presence that lurked there. Since that eerie night, I avoided that highway at all costs. But the memories and the lingering fear remained, a reminder that sometimes, there are things lurking in the darkness that defy explanation. The haunted highway, forever etched in my mind, serves as a chilling reminder that some stories are born not out of fiction, but from the harrowing experiences of real people.